Brahmanda Purana, Part 4, Lalita Mahatmya, Chapter 20, The Deities on the Kiricakraratha. Hayagriva said, O intelligent one, listen to the deities stationed in the 5 steps of the prominent chariot Kirichakra bore willed victory to those who listen to their names. The footnote says this is a description of the chariot of the commander-in-chief Dandanatha, the boar-faced deity Potrini. The chariot has 5 steps, but the distribution of deities, etc., is rather confused. Maybe due to some textual confusion. Whatever is precise is recorded in the following outline. Seat of Potrini. Step 1, center of the chariot, Bindu. Step 2, center of the chariot, 3 deities, Jrambhini, Mohini, Stambhini. Step 3, 5 deities such as Andhini. Step 4, 6 deities out of Matris, mothers with exception of Chandika or Mahalakshmi, Varahi. 6 are stationed here. Seven deities Dhatunathas. 7 deities Dhatunathas, for example Yakshini, Shankhini, so called as these deities consume 7 dhatus of the body, bestowers of 8 siddhis. Step 4, other sides of the step, 2 Chauri bearing deities and Dandanatha's lion. Step 6, version 1 states that this chariot has 5 steps, but without specifically mentioning the 5th step. This is called the 6th step in the text. 8 deities, for example Vartali, Varahi, etc., are stationed here. On their left, Dandanatha's buffalo. Step 5, below them 8 guardians of quarters, gods, demigods, nagas, etc., are stationed. On the will, 3 deities Jrambhini, Stambhini, Mohini, the same deities as on the step 2 of the Kiricakraratha, wide verse 6 to 8 above, and Kshetrapala at the extremity of this step, below the 6th step, 1000 deities and 10 Bhairavas. Dandanayika, leader of the army, was stationed on the first step named Bindu. She, the destroyer of the haughty and wicked thorns of worlds, appeared to make Jayashri, glory of victory, dance there by means of different kinds of flames. She had torn and pierced the haughty Danavas with the terrific blow of her snout. She appeared to be the night for the clear perception of the rays of her curved teeth, resembling the crescent moon. Her creeper-like tender body was dark in complexion, like the clusters of clouds in the rainy season. She was a permanent ornament to the leading chariot Kirichakra. She was the Potrini, boar-formed deity who had made all the revolving worlds her adopted children. 3 deities, viz. Jrambhini, Mohini, and Stambhini, had occupied the 2nd step at the same center of that chariot. It resembled a full-blown pomegranate flower. The deities who were competent to suppress Danavas held the pestle, plough, and liquor pot studded with many precious stones and jewels by means of their sprout-like hands, where bangles set with rubies dazzled brilliantly. These deities had very sharp and dreadful eyes. They wished to burn Daitya soldiers by means of the fiery flames emanating from the eyes without hesitation. They continued to serve the boar-faced goddess Shukar, Shukaranana. Five deities, beginning with Andhini, were stationed on the third step of the excellent leading chariot Kirichakra. They had fixed their base in the Devi Yantra. They appeared to split the three worlds by means of their boisterous laughter. They appeared like the flames of fire which burns the universe at the end of the world and which had assumed the guise of woman. With their tongues lolling and licking the sides, they were desirous of lapping up the flowing blood of all the soldiers of Bhandasura. They were dazzling in their brilliance. Thus they used to serve Dandanatha of terrific exploits continuously. Six deities were stationed on the fourth step of the leading chariot Kirichakra. They were Brahmi and others, excepting the fifth one, that is Varahi, and the eighth one, that is Chandika or Mahalakshmi. Their bodies appeared to discharge blazing flames from the Shatchakra, six mystical nerve plexuses in the body. They appeared ready to drink, that is, to destroy Danavas by means of great many series of exploits. It was at the behest of Dandanatha that they resorted to that region. Seven deities called Dhatunathas were stationed in their respective places beneath the same step. They were Yakshini, Shankhini, Lakini, Hakini, Shakini, Dakini, and another Hakini, who had the united and combined forms of all of them. All this demonstrated the exploits of their mighty arms. They appeared ready to drink, that is, destroy all living beings and the earth. They drank and consumed the seven dhatus, essential ingredients of the body, viz., the blood, skin, flesh, fat, bones, marrow, and the semen of enemies. They had hideous faces. With their harsh leonine roars, they filled 10 quarters. They were called Dhatunathas, and they were the bestowers of 8 siddhis, beginning with anima, minuteness. They were experts in deluding, slaying, paralyzing, stupefying, striking, swallowing, and exterminating the wicked Daityas. In regard to those who are habitually devout, they were competent to annihilate all adversities. They were called Dhatunathas since they were present in all dhatus, essential secretions of the body. They were adventurous enough to drink within half a moment all the oceans that appeared to kiss the sky by the series of waves. They had cart-shaped teeth and terrible eyes. They were equally ready to swallow those who acted maliciously against their mistress, those who transgressed conventional rules and established practices. Those who engaged themselves in mischief by injuring the followers of Vedic injunctions maliciously, those who were inimical to heroes, and the wicked Daityas who spoiled and obstructed yajnas. They used to serve continuously Dandanaika in the form of potrini. On the other side of the same step in a divine temple were stationed two deities well known as Krodhini and Stambhini. They fanned the two charmeras chauris as the bangles round their tender creeper like hands moved to and fro. They were excessively proud after drinking liquor and the blood of soldiers in the army of demons. They had perpetual laughter in their faces and their eyes rolled about continuously. Two excellent weapons, plowshare and pestle, assuming the form of deities, took up their residence on either side of the leading chariot Kirichakra. They held the bodies of their own weapons at the place of their own crown. They were remembered by the Devas as the destroyer of everything. Um, uh, they were remembered by the Devas as the destroyers of everyone antagonistic to the universe. It was with these two weapons that Lalita Dandanaika would cut off and kill Danava named Vishanga in the battle. There was an exceedingly terrible lion well known as Chandochanda at the same step in front of Dandanatha. The sky echoed with his roaring sound, and the cardinal points were deafened by the sounds produced by it while gnashing its teeth. It had 4 hands and 3 eyes. It held trident, sword, and nooses sewn and tied. Its body was brilliant. By seeing alone and observing everything, it served goddess Potrini continuously. 8 deities, beginning with Vartali, were stationed on the sixth step of the leading chariot Kirichakra. They were renowned in the eighth they were renowned in the 8 quarters. Their voices were as loud as the sound produced when 8 mountains clashed with one another or fell over one another. 8 serpents served the purpose of their shining ornaments. Their strength and splendor was never ruined or eliminated. They had sacrificed crores of Danavas in the fire of the prowess of their mighty arms. They used to serve Dandanatha Lalita day and night. Their names are also well known. O pot-born sage, listen. Vartali, Varahi, Varahamukhi, Andhini, Rodhini, Jrimbhini, Mohini, and Stambhini. They were competent in agitating, paralyzing, and exterminating enemies. The royal vehicle of Dandanatha, a buffalo of dusky white color, was always stationed on the left side of those deities on the same step. Its 2 horns were half a crochet apart. 1 crochet equals 3 kilometers, and its body was a crochet long. Its body was covered with many hairs, hard and sharp edged like swords. It was dreadful, with its formidable tail resembling the baton of the god of death. It had the luster of the dark mountain of collyrium, or blue antimony. It was furious, lofty, and hideous. All the parts of that buffalo were stout and excellent, like the massive mountain of antimony. Its deep and hot breath issuing forth and spreading everywhere stirred up the oceans. It seemed to laugh derisively at the buffalo of Kala, god of death, by means of its crackling and rattling grunt. The cloud Pushkaravarta was scattered about by its hoofs. On the same step, but beneath, were stationed Indra and others, the eight guardian deities of cardinal points. They had fixed their abodes in different ways at different places. They had come there to inform Lalita about the fulfillment of tasks. There were Indra, the 64 crores of celestial damsels, Siddhas, Agni, fire god, Sadhyas, other Vishwadevas, Vishwakarma, Maya, mothers of exalted state and strength, Rudras, the attendants and dreadful Pishachas, the leaders of Rakshasas, and many Rakshasas used to wail there. Mitras, Gandharvas, who were always experts in singing and whose well known leaders were Vishwavasu and others, other Bhutaganas, groups of goblins, Varuna, Vasu's Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Maruteshwara, wind god, Chitraratha, chariot makers, artisans, Tumburu, Narada, Yaksha, Soma, Yaksheswara, Kubera, Lord Govinda, the consort of Kamala, along with Devas, Ishana, who is terrible due to his trident, and who is the devourer of the universe, Brahma, Ashwiniputras, who were efficient in the science of medicine, Lord Dhanvantari, and other Gananayakas, leaders of Ganas, who had gratified bees by means of ichor exuding from their excellent temples, were stationed there. Ananta, Vasuki, Taksha, Karkota, Padma, Mahapadma, Sankapala, Gulika, Subala, these leading serpents, surrounded by crores of other serpents, were stationed there. In this manner, many deities were stationed there on active duty. They had fixed their mansions all round, beginning with the eastern quarter, etc. There itself on the wheel were stationed three deities, Jrimbhini, Stambhini, and Mohini. They were the presiding deities of northwest, and resorting to that quarter, they stationed themselves in the form of a wheel. In the extremity of the same step of the resplendent chariot, Kirichakra Kshetrapala shone continuously, serving Kitishwari. He held a skull and a mace. He had a huge body with the hair standing upright. He had dark complexion and features like the dust and moss at the bottom of Patala. He appeared to rend through the sphere of the cosmic egg by means of his boisterous laughter, as though by means of a thunderbolt, by means of sound from his damaru, a kind of drum. He split the hollow space between heaven and earth. He held in his hand a funny pasha, a serpent in the form of noose, which had three hissing hoods. Very near him was stationed the goddess's vehicle, a lion. It was seated on this that she began her activity when desirous of slaying Bhandasura. The characteristics of the lion, the vehicle of the goddess of Devas, have been described before. Beneath the same step were stationed 1,000 deities. They had lustre similar to that of Dandanatha. They were adorned with all sorts of ornaments and weapons similar to those of Dandini. They were dark in complexion. They were boar-faced. They kept their tresses embellished with the crest by means of the digit, that is, crescent of the moon. They wield the plowshare and the pestle with their hands frequently. They filled skulls by means of overflowing currents of blood of those who plotted against Lalita, who wrought mischief against Shyama, and who maliciously treated the mistress. They wore the intestines of those who hurt and assailed their devotees. They used to wear on their breasts garlands by a number of shaven skulls of those who protested against their own religious cults or conventional community. There was a continuous flow of blood from those heads. The deities who served Kitishwari are said to be 1,000. The names of all those deities will be mentioned in the chapter on the 1,000 names of Dandini, O pot-born saint. Note now again here. Then near those boar-faced deities was stationed the vehicle of Dandini, a black antelope. It was as a conventional custom that the antelope stood there. The space between the horns was a quarter of a crosha. The length of its face was a quarter of that. The length of legs was a crosha. It always used to keep its tail upright. Its belly had a white lustrous patch. By means of a loud grunting sound, it laughed derisively at the exploits of the deer that was the vehicle of wind god. This excellent vehicle was stationed in a part of the same step. The ocean of liquor, assuming the form of a deity, was stationed there on the same step of the leading chariot Kiricakra. It held in its hand a lump of meat, red like a ruby mountain. Its eyes rolled. It wore a garland of golden lotuses. It was embraced by Madashakti, deity presiding over the power of intoxication that held a red lotus. Later on, whenever Daitya Bhanda became active in the battle, Shaktis had perspired profusely and became thirsty. On those occasions, Surasindhu, ocean of liquor, would scatter himself in various places and dispel the fatigue of deities in the course of war. That miracle will undoubtedly take place, O sage, then when the battle is being described. You will hear it being recounted by me joyously. It is remembered that beneath the same step in all the 8 quarters and above as well as below, 10 male deities beginning with Hetuka had fixed their residences. They were the excellent and great Bhairavas, well known for their profound exploits. By the enkindled splendor of their weapons, They surpassed even the sun by day. At the end of Kalpa, at the behest of Dandini, they destroyed the entire universe. They were of fearful nature, gnashing their teeth and biting the leaves with them in anger. They used to pierce and scatter the clouds with the tips of their tridents. They were Hetuka, Tripurari, the third one, Agni Bhairava, Yamajuha, Ekapada, Kala, Karalaka, Bhimarupa, Hatakesha, as well as the one with the name Achala. These 10 well known Bhairavas stayed at the extremities of the chariot Kirichakra along with 10 crores of soldiers. Thus, the deities of the chariot Kirichakra of Dandanatha, beginning with Jrimbhini and ending with Achalendra, have been enumerated. They sanctify the three worlds. There in the battle, many Danavas would be killed by the group of deities stationed there. Showers of blood would be drunk by them. Thus, Kirichakra, the excellent chariot of Dandanetri, with diverse protective devices through the groups of deities stationed on the steps, moved ahead. Wherever the chariot Chakraraja went, the excellent chariot Geya also went. Wherever the chariot Geya proceeded, the excellent chariot Girichakra also accompanied it. In the midst of thousands of the armies of Shakti, these three splendid chariots that appeared like the three worlds set in motion proceeded on and on. It appeared as though the mountains Meru, Mandara, and Vindhya had joined together as one unit. There was a loud, tumultuous sound in the groups of armies of Shaktis. The entire earth shook on being rent, as it were, by the creaking sound of their wheels. There were 6 charioteers in the leading chariot of Lalita, named Chakraraja, and other chariots. They were glorified as experts in holding the bridle and keeping the staff whip raised. The first is Ira Devi, then Tripura Bhairavi, another is Samhara Bhairava, the next is Rakta Yogini Vallabha, the fifth is Sarasha, the next sixth is Chamunda. The deities are remembered as charioteers. The charioteer of the leading chariot, Geya Chakra, was Hasantika. Stambhini is resembled as the charioteer of the prominent chariot Kirichakra. The excellent chariot of Lalita had a height of 10 yojanas. The excellent chariot Gita Chakra had a height of 7 yojanas. A great umbrella, studded with pearls and having an extent of 10 yojanas, was present only in the chariot of Lalita Lalitesani and nowhere else, not in the other chariots. This alone has been glorified as indicative of the imperial power of Shakti. Ordinary umbrellas were provided in the other 2 chariots. Then that imperial deity Lalita, the great goddess of all Shaktis, the sovereign deity who had ascended the rulership of a great empire, advanced against demon Bhanda with a desire to accomplish his death. At this time, the cardinal points reverberated with the sounds. The earth quaked, and all the living beings became excited and agitated at the departure of Lalitesha. The divine drums, dundubis, sounded, and showers of flowers fell on every one. The celestial musicians, viz., the Gandharvas, beginning with Vishwavasu, Tumburu, and Narada, and Saraswati herself, began to recite auspicious verses of victory along with excellent songs. Their faces beamed with delight. Hair standing on their ends over their bodies served as ornaments. They repeatedly eulogized Laliteshwari, adding, "Be victorious, be victorious." Delighted, proud, and elated, they began to dance at every step. The seven sages, beginning with Vasishtha, repeated hymns and verses from Rig, Yajur, Saman, and Atharva Vedas, increasing their good wishes for her victory and glory in the same manner as when the sacrificial fires of great purity are made to blaze forth by means of Havi's offerings. Excellent persons added their benedictions of great power, being eulogized by them and shining in her excellent chariot. Lalita set off along with the soldiers in order to conquer the Asura Bhanda.